Joining me now is Kentucky Congressman Brett Guthrie. This week, he was elected to become the next House Energy and Commerce Committee chairman. Mr. Chairman, congratulations to you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much. A big honor my colleagues have given me, so I really appreciate it. Appreciate being here this morning.
Tell us about your agenda, sir.
Well, you just talked about President Trump and what is happening in Canada. And all I will say is this. When President Trump came into office, he wanted to renegotiate NAFTA. There was really no incentive for Canada or Mexico to do that because they had all the advantages. And President Trump did it. He did the UCM, and I think that he did a great job with it and have confidence he'll be able to do as well. But what this does show is that we have to be energy independent. And how we continue as we were when President Trump was president his last term. And the way we do this is unleash American energy. There's a process called reconciliation, and what that really means to House members is we only have to get 51 votes in the Senate. And so we're going to be able to pass this agenda as well, but we have to get it through the Senate. And as unleashing American energy, the big part of it is permitting reform, and we're going to focus on that.
Right, and I understand that, but what about these potential tariffs or export tax that Canada could put in place as retaliation? Won't that hurt refiners?
Well, I do believe that President Trump's got a plan. He's got an agenda. Who would have thought that he would have been able to renegotiate NAFTA? And so we'll see where this progresses, but I think I have a lot of confidence in his ability. But we do have to continue to create our own oil and gas here as well. I know the crude's coming in from Canada. We have it in North Dakota. We have it in the Permian Basin. I was down there. The way that American engineers have figured out how to get oil out of the ground that we thought was depleted is just been phenomenal. So we have to develop that ourselves. A lot of reasons you have to get out of Canada because you can't get it permitted in the United States. And, you know, it's just not oil and gas on our agenda. The electric grid is a big, important thing. We're seeing it from Silicon Valley. You see that Microsoft is looking at 3 Mile Island. I was at Microsoft and they said an AI data center can use more energy than the city of Seattle. So you start putting these on the grid, so you have rising demand when our government regulators are limiting supply. Yeah. It's going to raise price of energy for everyone, and that's what we're going to focus on is to make sure that, you know, Europe is trying to decarbonize, is beginning to decarbonize. They're beginning to also deindustrialize. Yeah. We cannot let that happen in this country because it's not going to go away. It's going to go somewhere else, mostly China and Asia. And so that's what we're fighting. We're really fighting for the American economy.
Well, you make the point that President Trump redid NAFTA. He's going to redo USMCA as well. He told me that when I interviewed him just a few weeks ago, that he had put an amendment in there that he could open up USMCA and redo it 6 years later. And here we are 6 years later. He's going to do it, he told me. So we'll see how he changes USMCA. But you mentioned reconciliation, and we're a week away from a possible government shutdown again, December 20th. House Speaker Mike Johnson expected to discuss reconciliation with President Trump tomorrow at the Army-Navy football game. I've been reporting for weeks that congressional leadership wants 2 reconciliation packages, a bill on the border and energy at the beginning of the new year, and then a separate reconciliation, which will include the tax extensions at the end of the year, something I've been asking lawmakers about. Watch this.
I would bet that we're going to see 2 reconciliation packages.
We're going to do border. We're going to do energy policy. We're going to do tax, and we're going to get it all done. You know, we've been hearing numbers around $100 billion to secure the border and also fund what needs to happen to deport the criminals.
Tax needs to be in the first reconciliation. You need a reconciliation bill that has border, energy, permitting, and tax. Congress has not passed 2 reconciliation bills into law since 1997. It is harder to pass bills in the House than it is in the Senate.
Is there a risk that a second reconciliation bill doesn't happen at the end of the year?
Absolutely.
You do want to get maybe even 3, because we can do that with the 3 fiscal years, because we're kicking the CR in the next year. We can do even 3 over the 2-year Congress.
So, Congressman, what about that? What do you want to see happen? I mean, you've got 2 bites at the apple next year, right? You've got 2 reconciliation deadlines of October 1st, 2025, and then October 1st, 2026. Are you against doing a big omnibus type bill at the beginning of the year that would include energy as well as tax extensions as well as border? Or do you think it makes more sense to do 2? You heard Jason Smith there. He wants the extension of the tax cuts to be done early on.
Well, I believe that that Speaker Johnson, the president, and Leader Thune are going to come up with the process that's going to best work. I've just got on this job a couple of days ago, so I've been part of those negotiations. What I have been preparing for, because I was hoping I was going to be able to win this job, is reconciliation and energy. And we're going to be prepared. My understanding is every scenario is energy will go in the first package if there's two, or it's going to go in the big package, obviously, if there's only one. And so we're going to be ready. We have to have our energy moving forward. And you talked about the Army-Navy game. I'm a West Point grad, so I have to start off with beat Navy. But we're going to look at small modular nuclear reactors and other things like that. And people always ask, are they safe? That's what reminded me of it. Are they safe? And we put the best men and women in the world on a small modular nuclear reactor and put them underwater and send them around the world on submarines. Yep. So we can do this technology. And so that would make sense if you don't put these data centers on the grid. They have their own small modular nuclear reactors. That's not this year, but that's got to be coming, because we have to have the energy to move forward. And whatever our leadership decides, the Energy and Commerce Committee is going to be ready. We know we're either going to be in the first one or we're going to be in the only one. And so we have to be ready to go first. And we've worked through the night last night. We're going to be working through the holidays. We're all going to go home and do our things. We're going to be ready. When we get back, we're going to have everything ready to go to make sure that President Trump's successful. He says he wants to unleash American energy like you've never seen before, and that's what we're going to do.
So do you think, you just mentioned the rules and regulations a second ago. Do you think that we're going to see executive orders on energy to roll back some of the climate change agenda, regs and rules around energy that Biden put in?
Oh, I think so. Remember, on day one, President Biden sat down and signed executive orders. Right. On day one, he stopped the Permian Basin. He stopped the Keystone Pipeline on day one. I always tell people, when I remember leaving to drive to come to the Biden inauguration, in Kentucky, gas was $1.86 a gallon. So I'm going to remember that. Now it's about $2.65 a gallon. Why is it back towards that lower end? And so that's what we're going to focus on. And it was because of day one. On day one, he signed it. So I want President Trump to, and we've got some good ones. We've got Lee Zeldin coming to EPA to do what they can do administratively, but I don't want to punt what Congress needs to do legally and statutorily. We need to do our job as well, and working together to unleash American energy.
All right, Congressman, we'll be watching your work. Very important work. Thank you so much, Brett.
We look forward to it. Thank you very much, Maria.
All right,
Thank you.
We'll see you soon, sir. Quick break.